Lensbaby sold attachments for the original optic swap system. The wide-angle and telephoto lenses were sold as a kit. They have 37mm threads that enable you to use them with the optics from the original optic swap system. If you don't own these useful accessories, you may still be able to find them on eBay. The wide-angle attachment, which is part of the Lensbaby wide-angle telephoto kit, increases the field of view your camera can capture, which is wonderful if you photograph landscapes and cityscapes. The wide-angle attachment screws into the accessory threads in front of the plastic, single glass, double glass, and soft focus optics. The attachment changes the standard 50mm focal length to 30mm. When you photograph with any wide-angle lens, make sure you have a fairly prominent object in the frame to act as a visual anchor. Without a visual anchor, there is simply too much information for the viewer to assimilate, and he has no idea where to look. The wide-angle attachment effectively increases your depth of field at any f-stop. If you want a soft, dreamy landscape, use the f2.8 or f4.0 aperture disc. If you want a large depth of field with a large sweet spot of focus, use the f8 aperture disc or smaller. And a smaller aperture disc has a larger f-stop value, such as f16 or f22. When you use this accessory, your images will suffer from barrel distortion. The center of the subject bulges outward, especially when you photograph objects with vertical lines. You can use this distortion creatively or fix the problem in Lightroom or Photoshop. If you tilt the camera up or down with this attachment, the horizon line will bend. The following image was created with the wide-angle attachment. The telephoto attachment is also a part of the Lensbaby wide-angle telephoto kit. It's the perfect accessory when you need a narrower angle of view. Attach this accessory to the filter threads in the front of the plastic, single glass, double glass, and soft focus optics to increase the focal length of these optics to 80mm. That, by the way, is the perfect focal length for portrait photography. This attachment gives you a bit of extra reach when you're photographing bashful birds or wildlife, and also gives you a shallower depth of field and a smaller sweet spot of focus. Due to the fact that you're dealing with a shallower depth of field, it's imperative that you get your subject in focus. When you're photographing a person or pet, make sure you have the eye nearest the camera in focus. If that eye isn't in focus, viewers will assume the image is totally out of focus and not an artistic Lensbaby image. Remember that the eyes are the windows to the soul. If you tilt the Lensbaby too much with the telephoto attachment, you will experience vignetting at the edge of the frame, especially if you're photographing with a camera that has a full frame sensor. Make sure that you check the images of the frame before you tilt the lens and before you take the picture. If you see a black area with a circular edge, you've tilted too far. The following image was created with the telephoto attachment. The telephoto attachment is also useful when you're shooting close-ups of insects like this bee and don't want to get stung. The super wide-angle attachment is useful when you want to capture the grand expanse of a magnificent landscape or architecture. It's perfect for landscape photographers or anyone who wants to create images with an incredibly wide angle of view. If you don't own the super wide angle attachment, you may still be able to buy one on eBay. This attachment screws into the accessory threads at the front of the plastic, single glass, double glass, and soft focus optics. This attachment changes the focal length of these optics from 50 to 21mm. With this attachment, you have the largest sweet spot of focus and the largest depth of field. When using this attachment, you need something large in the foreground to act as a visual anchor. Without a visual anchor, the wide-angle view you capture with this attachment encompasses so much visual information, your viewers won't know where to look or why you took the photograph. When you include a visual anchor, viewers know what your center of interest is and why you took the picture. Vignetting is also a problem with the super wide-angle attachment when you tilt an optic to which this accessory is attached, especially if you use it on a camera with a full-frame sensor. The Composer Pro and Composer Pro 2 don't give you the option to positively lock the optic with no tilt. Therefore, you'll have to pay close attention to the edge of the frame before you take a picture. If you see a curved black shape in the corner of the frame, adjust the tilt of the Lensbaby until the black shape disappears. The other alternative is to use the discontinued Scout body, which does not tilt. You also experience a bit of barrel distortion when using the super wide-angle attachment. You can use this distortion creatively or correct the distortion using Lightroom or Photoshop. If you tilt the camera up or down, the horizon line will bend as well. The following image was created with this attachment. The step-up shade accessory screws into the 37mm filter threads at the front of the plastic, single glass, double glass, soft focus, and pinhole zone plate optics. As long as the sun is not in the frame, the step-up ring acts as a lens shade, effectively eliminating lens flare. The front of the step-up shade accessory has 52mm threads, into which you can attach any filter that has 52mm threads. The step-up shade accessory is wide enough to prevent vignetting as long as you don't tilt the Lensbaby body. To use a filter with the step-up shade accessory, carefully screw the filter into the threads at the end of the filter ring. Be careful not to cross-thread the filter when inserting it, because this can cause damage to the ring and the filter. You may still be able to find this accessory on eBay.